Hey guys, welcome back to the Fandom Minutes. I'm Mike.
And I'm Matt.
Today we got another little special Halloween themed episode for you.
Oh yeah.
Matt, you want to go ahead and tell them what we're doing today?
So today we've got a little Q&A that we thought we'd do, and then 13 fun facts about Halloween. So I'm going to ask you a question, and we're kind of just like talk about it and whatnot. And these were fun. And we also have Gamer here as our co-host. Figured we needed a little black cat in our lives. So my first question is, why do you think people say trick or treat on Halloween?
So I actually used to know the answer to this, and I don't know the exact answer now, but obviously trick or treat makes you think, at least, that, some people would give you candy, some people would play a prank on you or something. So that's kind of my take on it.
So it actually started out with poor people would visit the houses of wealthy families and receive pastries called soul cakes on All Hallows Eve, in exchange for a promise to pray for the souls of the homeowner's dead relatives, known as souling. The practice was later taken up by children who would go from door to door asking for gifts such as food, money, or ale. In Scotland and Ireland, young people took part in the tradition called guising, dressing up in costume and accepting offerings from various households rather than pledging to pray for the dead. They would sing a song, recite a poem, tell a joke, or perform another sort of trick before collecting their treats, which typically consisted of fruits, nuts, or coins. And it became popular in America. The name for sure got coined trick-or-treating in 1951 in America because of a Peanuts cartoon.
Interesting.
So, next one is always a good one. What is your favorite Halloween candy?
Reese's. Anything peanut butter. Anything to do with the Reese's family.
Gotcha.
Is my go-to.
So, my favorites are obviously Reese's because, I think everybody now votes that is I think last year that voted as the best candy.
That is currently rated as the best candy in the world.
Yep. So definitely Reese's. I love Reese's. Trix. I also like Trix really well. I think those are pretty good. But yeah, I like those too. So our next one is, would you rather hug a zombie or a ghost?
A ghost.
Okay.
Zombie is going to eat you.
So,
no doubt.
Yeah. So that's I was like, why did someone make this question? Like, why would you want to hug a zombie? Obviously, it's going to eat your flesh. And the ghost, well, it's either going to be corporeal, which means you can feel it, or it's not even going to be there. You can't even feel it. It'll be a ghost hug. So the next one we got, do you like scary, silly, or happy pumpkins for Halloween?
I like scary ones because they're usually really, really well made and look really nice. I also like the really elaborate ones.
Yes, those are the best. I was going to say that.
This year I did one with the Shell Shock logo.
Very nice.
But yeah, no, scary ones are my favorite for sure.
Definitely. I really like the some of the silly ones are fun to look at, but definitely the horror ones are the better looking overall. Usually they have the most work put into them. The silly ones sometimes they'll get good work, but a lot of times the horror ones have the best artwork in it, and the elaborate ones blow me away. I don't even know how they do that. So, did you know that bats always turn left when exiting a cave?
I did know that. Sometimes in movies you'll see that too. Scooby-Doo used to do it that way.
Did they really?
When they would show bats coming out of a cave, they always went to the left.
That's awesome.
But then you get a lot of them that, like on Batman, when you see bats exiting a cave on there, they're always coming like kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's always an opening, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
But yeah, no, I did know that. There was a time where I did a lot of research into bats.
Did you?
Because I wanted to build a bat box in my backyard.
Oh yeah.
To attract bats.
That would be cool.
So I did know that.
Nice. I did not, and I haven't actually looked up why they always turn left. I'm sure there's a good reason for it, but I thought that was really interesting. What has been your favorite Halloween costume?
Let's see. My favorite Halloween costume. Oh, I've done a lot of costumes. Every year we do a haunted house, me and my dad. And my favorite to be in that is Jason from Friday the 13th. I really, really enjoy that character and getting into that character.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my other favorites were the year that me and my buddy JJ dressed up as inflatable T-Rexes at work.
Nice.
And we ran around through the hallways and through
Those are
through
fun.
the
Those are
office area. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Probably when I was a kid,
Ooh,
I would say my favorites were I had a Ninja Turtle costume and a Batman costume that my mom made.
Nice.
I loved that one so much that I wore the cape and cowl everywhere I went for like 2 years.
So did I. I did the same thing.
And there was a time I was Fred Flintstone. That was a good one too.
Oh, nice. You didn't need to find me a picture of that one. So for mine, I had a white Power Ranger suit as a kid. And one of the fellow teachers that my mom taught with made it for me. So she made the whole chest piece that went out and everything, and the mask that was the helmet. And she put a lot of work into that. And I have parts of it today that are up in a loft somewhere. But yeah, it was so cool.
To play on that, when my brother and I were little, say like 6 or 7 years old, he had the Red Ranger and I had the Blue Ranger.
Nice.
Blue was my favorite back then. Now it's green and white. But the Blue Ranger was my favorite then, and we lived in those costumes. As soon as we got home from school, they went on.
Nice.
As soon as we went to bed, they came off. As soon as we got up the next morning on a weekend, all day, every day,
nice.
We were in those costumes.
That's awesome. Speaking of that, I had a Batman cowl, and I really wish I could find it because I think it was probably one of the first Batman costumes, and I have never ever seen these again. All it was the top, and it came over your eyes, had 2 little pointy ears, and then a cape
coming off the back.
Yeah, and I would wear that like all day, every day. Didn't matter if I was going to get McDonald's, whatever. I was wearing that Batman cape.
I did the same. I specifically remember walking into Love's gas station down the road, and
I think we pretty much had the same childhood.
Walking, I mean, more or less. Walking in and them asking me why I was wearing a costume.
Right.
It was like
it
was July.
Yeah, middle of July.
And I was like, because I got to fight bad guys.
Yep, that was me too.
Never know where they're going to be at.
Yep.
So it's good times.
That's awesome. Adult-wise, so I don't drag this on too much with nostalgia. Adult-wise, I think one of my favorite costumes was I made not skeleton. So one of my favorite costumes as an adult was wearing it was like a scarecrow costume, and I created a giant like executioner's axe out of cardboard and a dowel rod.
Still at my house, by the way.
Is it still at your house after all this time? Okay, well, it's still
cave.
Cool. And so I made that, and then I took is it called a gunny sack or a potato bag?
Something like that.
Yeah. And so anyways, I cut it up, and then I re-sewed it. Burlap, that's the word. Burlap. And I cut it up, re-sewed it, and everything. I made a mask out of it, and I really like that one. That one was really fun to do. And then, of course, I've got like a Jedi costume. I've got Spider-Man, stuff like that. But yeah, I thought the homemade little scarecrow I thought was fun. So, did you know the first jack-o'-lanterns were actually made from turnips?
I did. They used turnips. They used several other gourds.
Gourds, yep.
And it wasn't until a little bit later when pumpkins became the thing.
It was actually when Irish immigrants came to America. And America, of course, had a ton of pumpkins, more so than gourds and everything else. We did, but pumpkins were like abundant. Right. And so they switched over. Obviously, pumpkins are bigger. So once they came to America, it was the Irish immigrants that brought the concept over to the States and started with the pumpkins. Did you know abandoned spider webs are called cobwebs?
I did. Growing up, my mom also called like where the dust would collect in like corners and stuff. She called those cobwebs, and so that's what I grew up calling stuff like that.
Yeah.
And spider webs were just still spider webs. But yeah, I did know that they were called cobwebs.
That's interesting. I think as a child, I always just called them all cobwebs because of what is it? The pig movie, Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's. Yeah. So I always called them cobwebs because I think that was in the movie Charlotte's Web, And so I just always called them cobwebs. And I think that was kind of a Halloween thing because we put up abandoned spider webs everywhere. So is there anything you don't like about Halloween?
If there's anything that I could say I don't like about Halloween, it would be the way that places like Walmart package it.
Mm-hmm.
They make it more about the candy or things like that. The quality of costumes is crap these days.
Well, actually, we got something at Walmart that actually you could get props with them now. So they had they did have Power Rangers, so they've increased the prop account. But yeah, the costume itself is
the costumes are always made of very poor material.
Yeah, very
They always have those really thin plastic
molded masks.
That, vacuum formed or something. I don't know. Not very good. But yeah, just the
quality,
the way they've commercialized it, I guess.
Yes, I do agree
bugs
with that.
me, and the fact that kids these days they're growing up too fast, and they think that they're too old to do certain things.
Yeah, by 8, they feel like they're too old sometimes.
The older these kids are, and they start to feel this way, it's just going to get passed on down. Their kids are going to do the same thing, and eventually it's just going to disappear. I'm 30 years old. I still dress up for Halloween. I went trick-or-treating until I was 21.
Nice.
That was, I think it was 20 actually. And that was because I had a friend that was like, hey, let's go trick-or-treating. And we would go. And to me, I would rather see fucking 20, 30, 30-year-old people out there, trick-or-treating than, out doing other stupid things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess if there was anything that I didn't like about it, it would be the commercialization of it and the lack of interest from
kids
these days.
Okay. So obviously this is going to be a yes one from you. Do you like going into Halloween haunted houses?
I do indeed. So I prefer being in them. I want to be a part of them.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
I would say that I'm a very big horror movie buff, and
same.
I enjoy horror movies. I enjoy getting into the character of these characters and stuff. So I prefer to be in them, but I do go through them. Yet I've never met one that actually scared me. They're good for a little bit of a rush, at least from me. But I hope to one day go into one that just scares the crap out of me. But
not yet.
It hasn't happened yet. But it is really cool to see the amount of work people put into these things.
I do agree with that.
A lot of these places, you see a lot of the big ones, they're done for money and stuff. But there are people out there, like my dad and I, who will do them for free, and we'll just, we'll throw stuff up and make it work. Yeah. And it's really fun to just go through and see, what different ideas they have as opposed to what you've got. Yeah. And, things like that.
I always love being in your haunted house each year. And obviously I'm 5'4", so I'm not super creepy. So I have to think of things.
Short things can be just as creepy.
That's what I was going to say. I have to think of, you kind of have to model your costume when you're in a haunted house. You have to model it to your assets. And so I could be the grudge girl crawling across the floor or something, or some ghoul or imp even. Whereas Mike over here could be the big burly Jason or Bigfoot or really just any giant character, and he's going to be just as scary as, me crawling across the floor, because he's going to be this lumbering figure that you have to try and get past. Yeah. And that would probably scare me more than somebody crawling across the floor, just this lumbering character.
It's all about embodying the character.
Yes.
You could be anything you want as long as you can get into the mind of that character. One of the scariest things we've ever had in one of my haunted houses was my sister when she was 8, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I used to have a little, it's like a rolly chair, like an office chair, but the back was broke off. She laid across that, wearing nothing but just regular clothes and a Freddy Krueger mask. Huh. But because she shot out from underneath this table, looked like she came out of a cabinet.
Oh, nice.
Comes shooting towards these people. It scared the crap out of them. They were literally, one of them said they peed their pants.
Oh my.
And this was just an 8-year-old child shooting across the floor on a chair with a Freddy Krueger mask on.
That's great.
And the one guy was like, why did that scare you? And the other guy was like, because it's Freddy Krueger. He could be in any shape or form, and you never know because he comes at you when you least expect it.
Nice.
And, so she was able to get into the character's head, and she does that all the time.
That's nice.
Scares people and does things. So, yeah, I mean, like, as long as you can just get into the mindset, you can be anything you want. And that's what I like about Halloween. I'm not me. I'm not Mike on Halloween.
Yep.
I am Jason or Michael Myers or sometimes an original character.
Yeah.
I made
Those
a
are
custom
fun.
mask and like didn't wash my hair that day, so it was all like greasy and ratty.
Yeah, grungy.
I put on like a butcher. What's the thing's called?
Like a duster?
No, like when you cook.
Oh, apron.
Put like an apron on. Had a shirt that was all tore up and stuff.
That took this way too.
And I just created my own original character, and just thought about what I would want that character's kind of backstory to be. Played off that, and it was amazing.
Nice. So my next question is: Halloween is on the same date each year. Do you know why that is?
So it's always on the 31st, obviously.
Yep.
As to why it's always on the 31st, I believe I may have known this at one point in time. I'm sure there's an actual reason. Even me not knowing the reason, it bugs me when I hear like some towns are like, "Oh, we're going to do trick or treating
on like a Saturday," or which I get wanting to put it on a Saturday, but I feel like it's always the 31st. It's just got to be on the 31st.
Right.
I mean, I get the point of it, but
you wouldn't move Christmas to
Saturday.
the 30th.
Yeah. So the reasoning is, the Christians had their reasoning, but prior to Christianity, Halloween has its roots in ancient pre-Christian Celtic festival of what a lot of people say is Samhain. And that's actually a wrong pronunciation. It's actually Gaelic, and it's pronounced Samhain. And so it was a Samhain celebration. It was one of the Sabbats, which was celebrated on the night of October 31st. The Celts, who lived 2,000 years ago in the area that is now Ireland, the United Kingdom, and North France, believed that the dead returned to Earth on Samhain. On the sacred night, people gathered to light bonfires, offer sacrifices, and pay homage to their dead heritage. And so it was almost like, if you ever heard of the Festival of the Dead, Dia de Muertos, in Mexico. It was a lot like that, but it was for the Irish Celts. Mm-hmm. And then after that, when Christianity came along, they ended up adopting Samhain and calling it All Hallows Eve and making the next day Saints Day. So the next day became Saints Day, and November 1st was Saints Day, and then the day before they called All Hallows Eve, which is when the spirits and everything would roam here. All
right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode. In case you haven't noticed, we're coming at you every week with a Halloween episode, as it's October. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed this one. Just a little quick Q&A on Halloween and kind of our thoughts on it.
Yeah, just generalized Halloween stuff.
We notice we have a tendency to ramble a little bit. Halloween is a big holiday for me.
Yeah, definitely.
It's my favorite holiday. I put that over Christmas, Thanksgiving, anything. So besides that, that's about all I've got for you. Matt, you got anything you'd like to add?
Well, besides our cat showing you its butt. I love Halloween too. It's definitely, if not my favorite, second. Christmas is fun, but yeah, Halloween is it's great. There's nothing to dislike about Halloween. So yeah, Halloween would definitely be probably my favorite holiday. Yeah.
I like Halloween because I can give the gift of scaring people. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Be sure to catch us next week when we drop another Halloween episode on.
Don't forget that like and subscribe button.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like and subscribe. Maybe give us a comment. Let us know what you guys think. And the questions we just asked, why don't you guys pop those in the comments and let us know what your answers are? Because that'd be cool to see.
Right.
But in the meantime,